And hello, it's me, that D-O-double-G, and my computer's going mad. Let me turn this bad boy down before I blow my own tits off. What a start. Oh, God, look at that. There we are. And I tell you what, it's not the first time that happens, because it's a tale as old as time. It's as true as it can be. We're barely even friends, then somebody bends unexpectedly. But it's just a little change. Small, to say the least. Both a little scared because I'm never prepared. Rebecca, me, and Dan. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the award-winning Absolute Football Podcast. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And as you can tell, I'm back. No Sam, so all the professionalism and the slick craftsmanship of this podcast is gone straight down the toilet. Straight away, but it's not just me. It's not just me here. It is Rebecca joining us from our tremendous Absolute WSL show. She's of course the award-winning Absolutely Lower League show. She just does it all. She's a woman with multiple talents. How are you this evening, Rebecca?
I am very good, thank you. Excited to be back on. How are you?
Oh, I'm all right. You've got some good news to talk about from an Everton perspective, and then some bad. It's like such a mixed bag. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for helping out and bearing the pain of dealing with me this evening. And speaking of bearing with pain, Dan, how are you this evening? Football aside, move that aside. That's good. Do you like that?
I love it. The swift hand movement.
Do you know where that's from? Stop right now. Thank you.
Oh, see, much. I had that in my head. Oh, don't walk away, boy. Don't walk away. I was just like, in my head.
Hey, you always on the bird. See, Rebecca's too young. She's going, what the piss is going on here?
I've heard of Spice Girls, but not two lads on Spice. Jesus Christ.
But are you good? Are you good otherwise?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm all right. For a ginger, the sun's been out. I've been out. I've not burnt. I've spent a load of money. The usual. Better. But it's all about making memories as a family, and it's been a good day. So yeah, I can't complain.
Ah, beautiful. I was the same. Do you know what this weekend was with my in-laws? I went to see Coventry play with my son and my nephew, my brother-in-law, and my father-in-law. They didn't win, but they were a much better side. I thought they played really well. They did really well. So that was nice. And I had exactly the same thing. I've been family all weekend. So it's been good times. And in the chat, like a Spenny fans in already. There's a crazy bank holiday Monday with all the playoff games that have been going on today. So it's exciting time. It's like it's bittersweet time for me this time of the season. It's like exciting because you've got all the cool stuff going on. And then like it's coming to an end, isn't it? I mean, Rebecca can't cope with it. It's too much for her. Your head's just exploded. That's what she's got. And we got Fifey with us as well. That's my Jesse James. I'm the D-O-double-G. Or that's the Road Dog of WWE, depending on how down with the kids you are. Simon's with us evening. Good evening, Simon. And Kate, gosh, is she in the next room?
No, she's upstairs helping get the youngest showered and into bed.
Oh, that is lovely, isn't that? Now, and look, she got a lovely little picture of you two there as well. It's like she really likes you, you know.
I know. I think it's just like tolerating. I think that's the word we use, isn't it?
What do you mean? Look at that. Look, there's a special message there.
Hello, Simon. Long time no see.
It's like sharing all the love. But yeah, it's been. I tell you what. Kate's. She tolerates. She does tolerate. She does a bloody good job tolerating. That is stellar effort, and it's nice that you appreciate that. But I tell you, let's get the pain over with now. We'll get it done, and then we can push it to a side. Dan, what happened with Burnley 1, Newcastle United 4? How did that one make you feel?
Shocking, shite, dejected, miserable, and rough. I suppose I can add that one in there. Opening 20 minutes, we absolutely tore them a new arsehole, and I thought we were actually going to do something about it. I thought we're going to do, the unthinkable. But lightning struck twice. Last time we got relegated from the Premier League, it was Newcastle at Turf Moor, and essentially, it's that game that could cost us going forward. It was a bitter one to swallow, really, because the first goal came against the run of play. Newcastle hadn't really offered anything in terms of chances. It's just been this typical season of Burnley of having chance after chance after chance, and no end product. So we've had to suffer with that. And then obviously you get the sucker punch. Isaac cuts in, takes a shot, Muric saves, and Callum Wilson just does what Callum Wilson does, just a poacher's finish, sticks it away. And then I thought, you know what, even at 1-0 down, I thought we were starting to show a bit more fight. They were pushing on a bit more, but on the counter attack, we looked dangerous. But it just wasn't meant to be. Just wasn't meant to be. That it all just, it went from sunshine to rain within a matter of minutes after that first goal went in. You could say it was raining goals for Newcastle. I know someone's going to.
You upset Rebecca, mate.
I can't help it. It's when you're talking about Burnley and they live in Accrington. They don't like it. But no, it's just a bad day at the office. To be fair, I think even Vincent Kompany looked absolutely miserable. Like, what do I do? Honestly, what do I do? So as I told you off camera, that I left. I was doing a watch along of the game. 60 minutes in, I thought, sod it, I'm going out. They've got like a bands in the square thing in town. I'll go to that. So I left after 60 minutes. My enthusiasm was found at the bottom of copious pint glasses. And
it's a good word as well, copious.
It is. Don't ask me to spell it though. But it was. I certainly got over it very quickly.
I mean, would Newcastle good or?
I mean, to be honest, to get the first 2 goals back in the game, I'd probably say not. But after that, it was a case of just pure dominance by Newcastle. We didn't look interested in even being involved in the game. I couldn't wait for half time. I even said at half time, do I bother coming back for the second half? Like I said, the manager didn't even know what to do or say. He just looked like a man defeated. After all the positives he'd been saying about how Newcastle have done well, just everything was aligned. Every result, like I say, obviously I know Rebecca will touch on it, but with the Luton Everton game, and I'm just thinking, right, that's finished at a perfect for us, to be honest. And then obviously you're keeping one eye on the Sheffield United game, and Sheffield United go 1-0 up early. So you're almost like, now it's down to you, Burnley. Go and do it. And it was almost like they knew Sheffield United went 1-0 up and thought, how do we mess this up? So they went, they just did. They did a Burnley, mate. They did a Burnley. I think that's the other way I could call it. It's bad, and I don't even feel bad if we get relegated. The Championship for me is probably one of the best leagues in the world right now in terms of competitive nature of teams. You don't know who's going to go up from one league to the next. Like say, Birmingham scrapping at the bottom of the league. Next minute, they could be in the playoffs next season. It's a mad division. So if we go down, am I bothered? No. For the fact of financial aspect, yeah, I want us to stay up because we're only a small, big fish in a small pond or something like that. I think the word is.
One way round. I mean, Simon's full of encouragement here. Considering Burnley have a Premier League winning centre half mananager, they really are poop at defending.
Correct.
It's an annoyance. I mean, Mr. Luke's joined us. Hello, Mr. Luke. And Spenny fan Chris is keeping us up to date. Apparently, it's 2-0. Crystal Palace have beaten United. Now, I will say I predicted Crystal Palace would win 3-0 on Twitter about an hour ago.
Wow.
So yeah, that is happening. I don't know who scored the goal at the moment, but it means I've got to amend my ticker because I don't know. Hang on, here we go. It is
Mateta.
Was it Mateta? It was going to be, wasn't it?
Of course.
To be fair, Ollie scored
not
one.
Elise.
Scott scored one. That's the way it's going to be. I am not surprised. I mean, while we've got that up, I mean, if I ask the two of you, do you think, if I start with you, Rebecca, the centre back pairing for Man United are Johnny Evans and Casemiro. Do you think Crystal Palace might score another goal or two?
I think they could get a couple more. When me and my dad saw the lineup, I went, "What's he doing playing there?"
I thought Johnny Evans. And allegedly he failed a fitness test before the game as well. But I mean, I'm lucky. There's no options on that bench either, is it?
No. I mean, Casemiro's played centre back for the last 3 games now, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I think Bruno's injured. So there's that. I mean, Dan, do you think one more goal, 2 more goals? How are you feeling?
You know what? Sod it. Palace don't have anything to fear against Man United. Go all out. Let's all laugh at Sam. Hashtag.
Hashtag laugh at Sam. There we go. Get that one going. I know Simon's always a fan of that. Mr. Luke Sable, Manchester United. And here's Mr. Luke also digging at Sam a little bit, making the most the Premier League show before they relegate to absolutely lower league. Do you know what? That is actually, you could see that as a promotion. In podcast tips, that could be seen as a promotion. And so I can't wait for City to ham United in the cup final. I think that will happen. I mean, let's be fair, if this Manchester United team go and perform like this, I mean, do either of you see them doing anything against City in the FA Cup final?
They might as well go home already.
It's a day out. It's literally a day out for them. I don't get it. Even United fans said after they got to the final, "Oh well, it's nice to get there." You know, it's progression. Yeah, of course it is.
Well, yeah, progression, doing the same thing you did last season, but just performing worse in the Premier League. Progression. It's sad times. But I mean, Newcastle United, I mean, I haven't asked Rebecca anything to prepare anything on this, but Newcastle United at the moment creeping up on Spurs. Spurs are on 60 points, Newcastle on 56. There's only 4 points in it, 3 games left for both of them to go. Do you think Newcastle, given Tottenham's form at the moment, and I'll help you a little bit, Tottenham have got coming up Burnley. So there's 3 points there, 3 points there. But then they have got.
Yes, Josh, I know that 3 points to Burnley. Yeah, I heard what you meant.
But you know what? Yeah, that's exactly it. But then they've got City, but then Sheffield United. So let's say for argument's sake, you say we're both saying 6 points out of that. Do you think?
Yeah.
Unless who's the other team that I mentioned? Newcastle United. Newcastle United are looking Brighton, Man United, and then Brentford. Out of those 3, who do you think's coming away with the most points? Are you feeling Spurs, or do you think the Toon Army might quite just do it? She's frozen. It was too much. It was too much pressure. She couldn't handle it. I built it all up. I built everything. Come on. Keep me in suspense, said Rebecca. Quick, who's going to do it? Spurs or Toon Army?
I think Spurs have an easier run of fixtures than Newcastle, so I think Spurs are going to keep going. But then, you never know, because Sheffield United could end up just doing a madness on last match of the season.
It's true. You never know. You never know. I mean, what we're going to keep it at, I don't want to be mean, and I'm not being a dick, but let's keep it at that end of the table, shall we? Look at the next game. I mean, over to you, Rebecca. Luton won, Everton won. I mean, good result for Everton. Are you happy with that?
Well, I enjoyed going into a match for the first time in 2 seasons, not panicking or thinking what's going to happen. Like, just being able to watch it for what it was quite enjoyable. It was an odd one because I think we were tired. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about fixture congestion like some people do, but it was 3 matches in quite a short space of time. And what them 3 matches meant for us was huge. So I do feel as though the players were just going through the motions a bit. Not having Mikalenko for like the remainder of the season it's so upsetting. I love him. He has put in such a shift this season for us. So to lose him is quite a big one, along with Nathan Patterson. So I think now we've got like Ben Godfrey and Ashley Young playing as makeshift left and right backs.
Ashley Young's great, isn't he?
At times.
Gets away with murder, that lad.
Yeah, he does. I do have to say, his shithousery of when he stood there with the ball, gonna take the pen. I'll be honest, I walked out the room. It's like, if he's taking this penalty, I cannot watch it. I just get told, oh, Dom's taking it. I was like, yes. Yeah, I think like the pen, how he has lifted Jared Branthwaite up off the floor baffles me, because he doesn't seem like the man light enough to just lift. So for that, it was just, great to see Dom on the score sheet. He's found his scoring boots again. I think he lost them when Ancelotti left, but they're back on now. Just it was annoying, the goal that we conceded. Jack Harrison gave it away in midfield, and then Ashley Young just got bodied off the ball. It did say it was a foul, but he just got shoved off the ball, to be honest. I've just seen a comment. Sean Dyche in his tracksuit era. Don't know what it is. Why this man wearing a tracksuit has saved us, but he's still wearing it now, and I think that's a thank you, Sean Dyche, for continuing this good run. But
He's
yeah,
got a weird shaped body, isn't he, for a tracksuit? Very strange build, isn't he?
I miss him.
Yeah, a point's a point. We're safe and a positive. We had Lewis Dobbin back on the bench. But yeah, it's just I'll take the point, but I would have wanted all three. But it does keep it a lot more interesting down the bottom with Luton, Burnley, and Forest.
I've got to be honest. I'm a bit angry at Everton for getting a result or get any points against Luton, because I don't want to be a dick, Dan. I really like Luton. I like what they've been doing.
Yeah. No, that's a fair point. I even said at the start of the season that I think Luton will do what Burnley have done over the years when they had Sean Dyche, which is keep that core players that they had on promotion and just add the little bit of Premier League quality, whether they're back at the end of their careers or what. And you know, I think they've done really well to achieve it. I hope out of everyone, it is potentially us and Forest. I'd like to see Luton given another fair crack of the whip in the Prem.
Oh, look, do you know what? You're such a lovely man, Dan. I just want to hold you in my arms. Don't want to let you go. I want to stay forever.
Always open.
Closer each day.
Home and away. Burnley shit.
But I mean, Rebecca, Luton, were they doing much? Do they deserve any more than that point, or are they just not up to it?
Neither side really were. I think both teams were happy with a point at the end. Luton could have taken all three, but Jarrod Branthwaite stuck his 6'5" legs out and helped us keep our point, which great defending from him. I think that's what kicked everything off at the end. But there were chances from both sides. Both sides could have taken it, but I think at the end of the day, that match was a draw. It had it written all over it.
And I mean, Heather, she likes a bit of Luton. Heather would like Luton to step there. And also, she hates VAR. Don't worry, we haven't got to that yet. But we will do. Someone said all of Luton's fans are really nice. The only nice Burnley fan he's seen is Dad. I can't comment. I don't think I've met any of the Burnley fans, to be fair, Dan.
There is none.
Are you the stalwart?
That's what it is. I'm just me.
He's the hero. He's going to bring pollution down to zero. That is Captain Planet for all of you over 30s. I mean, but that's Everton pretty much safe now. I can't see it statistically. That's not happening now. You're pretty good now, aren't you? You're pretty happy. Jarrod Branthwaite. I did see a fabulous tweet saying that you were going to swap him potentially, or United were going to come in and try to swap him for Harry Maguire plus money. Ooh, what do you think of that one?
No. Just no. Jarrod, no offense to any United fans, but Jarrod compared to Harry Maguire, there is no comparison. 20-year-old Jarrod Branthwaite, what he has done for us this season, you look at the stats of our defence, clean sheets, just him in general. He has been such a leader at the back. The link up between him and Tarkowski, even when one of them's not playing, so if Tarky injured or whatever, you've got the confidence in Jarrod to not make mistakes like he did a couple of seasons ago before he went to PSV. So please, can we just keep him for another season? But if we end up with Maguire, I think it's just going to be an absolute stinker of a swap.
Do you reckon? I reckon if there's any manager in the Premier League to turn Harry Maguire's career around, it'd be somebody like Sean Dyche. it is a tough one to
but
call.
I don't know if he'll get anywhere with him.
I totally get what you're saying though. Like you've got Branthwaite, who's 20 years of age. You've got Maguire, who's coming up to the what? Back. If they was both of similar age, maybe there'd be possibilities for writing down your pros and cons and going, do we do it? Do we not?
Yeah.
But the fact that Jared Branthwaite is still a baby in terms of a footballer, then it's not a chance. Not unless they're offering the same amount they paid for Maguire and Maguire, and then maybe talk.
I mean, Sean's saying Everton have a proper centre-back partnership compared to United. Are you feeling that, Rebecca? Does it feel proper?
Yeah, they've Tarkowski and Jared together. They're just such a good duo. Like at the back, as anyone would be scared to run up against them. You've got 6'5" Jared Branthwaite, who is a unit, and Tarkowski. It's really good to see because for a while we have struggled with defence coming in, going out, and things like that. So to have settled with this pairing, and you always know that they're going to be on the team sheet. So it's like in previous, we've had like Mason Holgate, who he's all right, but he's no Jared Branthwaite, as you can say. So it's like to have these two together, they're both working off each other, and you can see bits of Tarkowski in Jared and Jared in Tarkowski. So they're just good.
Well, you look like you were going to say something, Dan. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, I was just going to say while Rebecca's on, like, what's your thoughts on Seamus Coleman as well? Because obviously looking like, that's his Everton career done, maybe football career done. Obviously your thoughts on him, because he's been tremendous ever since he was loaned to Blackpool years and years ago, came back to Everton and was just an ever-present ever since. Great stalwart for the club.
If you to ask anyone to name a player that is Everton, everyone will say Seamus Coleman. What he has done for the club, he is an incredible right back for us, and I don't think anyone's ever going to be able to fill his boots in terms of what he's done. I hope it isn't the end. I want him to see out his time at Goodison. So, like, stay on next season when we move to Bramley, which will happen after. I just want him to see out his time at Goodison, whether he plays or not, but the leadership that he brings in. And I think it was like last season against Leicester when he ended up with that serious injury, and he's there on stretcher, getting crowd going, getting the players going, and he's there like with his leg all tangled this and that way. But honestly, he's an absolute legend, and to see him just play, even if it's just 5 minutes next season, I'll be happy.
I mean, Mr. Luke agrees he'll go down as a legend in Everton club history, which is not. I mean, speaking of like older players, Mr. Luke's saying Ashley Young's proper ancient. When's he retiring?
I know, if you have him and Coleman playing on like the right together, God knows what age our team will be.
Can you imagine how slow that a turning circle would be though? Like, oh boys, up the line, up and down the line, up and down the line. Oh fuck off. No. They'd have to have like the ball boys running with oxygen tanks. But I mean, I'll be honest, at the probably about 6-8 games ago, there were some fans that weren't sort of particularly happy with Sean Dyche and what he was doing. Were you in that camp at the time, or were you not? And do you think that you should be congratulated for the work that he's done this season?
He should be congratulated. And the amount of managers that Everton have been through, we can't just keep. We have a bad run and they're out. Like, we need to stick together. And it's with what he did with the initial points deduction. We got that back in like 5-6 matches. I don't personally think we'd have done that with any other manager other than him. Yes, his subs can be a bit iffy. I mean, bringing on some players in like the 89th minute when you're either drawing or 1-0 down, you're just like, what's the point? There've been like a couple
subs. At least you get to see subs with Sean Dyche. He didn't even know that he had a subs bench behind him at Burnley. We were all like 60th minute, Sean, like, we're 1-0 down. Are you going to change it?
Did you have one? I didn't know you had subs at that point. I didn't think you had enough players.
In fact, I actually thought the players had to pay Sean Dyche subs just to get a game.
Yeah, he does. There's like some matches where you're there screaming, saying we need to make a change. there have been like some times where we've thought, oh, like Dwight McNeil's been his form's been on and off this season. So there's been points where you're like, just take him off, bring on Harrison or Arnie Danjuma, and he never does. So you are a bit there like, oh, but sticking with him has been the best decision that we've made. As I said, I don't think we'd be as safe as we are without him. And it is hard with the season we've had, but for fans to be getting on his back after it was a bad run for us with like the 6-0 off Chelsea. I think that just tipped it over the edge for fans, but you see how he's regrouped and got everyone, like the players going again, and to see players like James Garner, Doucouré and Idrissa playing together as well as they do, it's quite good because we nearly lost Doucouré when we had Frank Lampard. So to see how he's thriving under Sean Dyche, it's different player.
I mean, and I think if you look at it, I'm just trying to work out the points now. Without the points deductions, you'd be in 13th position at the moment, 1 point behind 12th, 2 point behind 11th, and 3 point behind 10th position. So I mean, I'm always interested to know, because like I know West Ham fans, there's a lot of West Ham fans happy that David Moyes has gone now because you're in 9th. I mean, I'm a big one, sort of like I'm interested to see what fans expect of their team. Because I'll be perfectly honest, for me, as not an Everton fan but a football fan in general, between that 13th and 9th position is where I would expect a team like Everton to be landing each season, which without that points deduction is where you would be and where you could possibly still finish. As an Everton fan, where do you think realistically you should be aiming for each season? As in where you should be comfortable, not obviously everyone aiming for number one. Where do you think is like that happy space where you should always be?
I mean, anywhere around 10th, like if we're in top half or just round 10th, I think we'd be happy with. I think that was our highest finish in recent years when we had Carlo Ancelotti. I think we were around about there, and that season is some of the best football I've seen us play. But yeah, I'd be happy with like round about 10th, just not another season where we've been, please. I don't think my health can take it anymore.
Well, that's the thing. I think if you take the points deductions away, you wouldn't have been in that battle at any point, I don't think. And to be able to do that, I think it's quite commendable in the way that he's done it, you know. I think what's Heather said, I don't think it's because they're not West Ham. I saw Moyes and I thought, she's talking about Everton. So that's next season. Then, are you expecting that sort of finish? Do you think that is doable, or do you think there's a lot of work to be done? Because you've also got like ownership issues. I mean, what's the chuffing muffins going on there?
Insolvency firm brought in or something.
Yeah,
like
what's going on? Do you know any more? Because that's it. All I know is I've seen a headline.
We need a scoop, Rebecca. We need a scoop. Come on, this channel's going big now.
Well, all I know is I think it's one of the businesses in Australia has gone bust, so they're under investigation with that. And then there's like they're trying to sell their shares in like the German clubs that they own, I think it is, to try and
is this that 777?
Yeah, to try and get enough money for Everton. But the further that we can keep them away from the club, the better at the moment. I mean, I don't think Mashiri wants Everton anymore, but there's nothing you can do when people like 777, who at first seemed legit to take over, they had the money, they had the ideas, they give us the loan for the new ground, but now each day there's a new thing that's come up where another one of the companies has gone bust, or they're under investigation for this, they're being taken to court for that. So it's really like unsettling at the moment, but
it's double bubble for you, Rebecca, though, because you've got obviously that issue with Mashiri doesn't want to keep hold of Everton. You've got Andy Holt doesn't want to keep hold of Accrington. He's double bubble at the minute.
I can't pick a team to save my life at this point.
I was going to say, are you going to ask him to swap? I think that might be able to hold something a bit. Because I did see something somewhere that they were on about potentially having to call in the administrators for Everton. Is that right? Did I misread that? Is that a real thing?
I'm not sure about that. I know administration's been mentioned when they were on about the 10 points deduction, where they were saying that Everton could have had the option to go into administration and that would have only been 9 points. But Everton didn't want that to happen because of jobs and like the environment around. So that's why we've ended up in like the situation we are with Mashiri 777 and then like Bill Kenwright.
I think that's why they've been called in now. I think it was the Guardian that posted it. I think they said that they're coming in now, and if I'm not mistaken, that they've come in now because it's the perfect time to do it. Because if it happens where this insolvency issue doesn't get sorted, and it's not sorted by the 3rd week of this month, technically, if there is another points deduction, it's on next season, not this season. So
yeah.
It's sort of like they've timed it perfectly if they are going to do it that way. If they're thinking, well, we know what we're going to get, but let's do it this way. That way we don't, leave ourselves in the mud.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, it all hangs in what those at boardroom level can get sorted, doesn't it?
Yeah, because we're still waiting the appeal on the most recent points deduction, which is set to be a week after the Premier League has finished. So that could cause a bit of controversy. And then there is a rumour that we are meant to be getting another points deduction, whether, as you said, that is next season, because there's an issue with our new ground of like the payment and the loan of that. But then it's all now come out that apparently we were offered Bramley Moore couple of years ago, but apparently I'm not sure and don't quote me on this, Bill Kenwright turned it down is what I've read, so we could have had that ground paid for us and they just loaned it back to us, but he said no because he wanted the rights of the ground and the rights to own it. So that's like
just get Anfield
thing.
Back. Just ask for Anfield back.
Kick them out.
You've had your fun. Off you go.
Yeah.
We've invested too much. I mean, Mr. Luke, Everton points deduction FC is not a nice name to have. I mean, I've just been quickly trying to see if there's anything on there. I mean, all I can find at the moment is their debt's massive. The costs are still racking up on the stadium, which every stadium project goes over. I don't think there is one that isn't, that doesn't even, but it's unnerving. I'm just not sure I can't tell what's going to happen there, to be honest with you. And as a club that I'm pretty confident have never been relegated out to the top flight.
No,
I think things like that. Yeah, it needs to be resolved somehow. I'm not sure what will happen there, but I want to think my I'm hoping for good things for Everton fans, but the amount of shit I get online off some of them. You've spoilt it for everybody else.
I think at like the end of the day, all Everton fans want is transparency from any situation that we're currently in, whether that's 777, Mashiri, the board, whether it's the Premier League and points deductions. We just want, as an Everton fan, we just want to know what's happening and why. Because I feel as though that has been a big gap this season of what's going on. Because 1 minute we're linked with 777, then they're out, then they're back in, then there's it's just all up in the air. But the main thing for us is we just want transparency and we just want answers.
I like that, and in fairness, and in all reality, taking away any sort of club bias aside, it is a great club. It's got a great fan base and a great history in the league, and it's really important that something positive comes out of the situation, and so you can move into that new stadium without much aggravation. Because no doubt that'll be a good release, and the influx of revenue I imagine that'll bring in will be nice. So sort your lives out, Everton board. Goodness gracious me, what's going on there? Dear me, it's just silly. It's just getting silly now. So please sort everything out, people. But I mean, we're staying down there. I mean, Rebecca, we might as well stay with you for the moment. Nottingham Forest 3 and Sheffield United 1. How did that game make you feel?
It was a very interesting one.
So organised.
Yeah, so it was a must-win for Forest, especially when you looked at Everton and Luton the night before. So Luton dropping points, Forest like, right, we need to get on this, and then Sheffield United took an early lead with the Ben Brereton Diaz penalty. It was quite evenly matched in terms of chances from both sides, keepers both having to pull off great saves. But then Callum Hudson-Odoi, a lovely goal to equalise it. Then Sheffield United did nearly take the lead, and you could see Forest getting a bit nervy with it, like, right, they're stepping up here. Sheffield United have not much to play for, already down, so it's one of them where they're just trying to get it in terms of like trying to settle it with the fans, like, right, we're down, we'll go out with a bang and just see what happens. So they are still playing quite. Forest just did it. They just did it. Ryan Yates has been a standout player for Forest this season. Nice volley from him, and then Hudson-Odoi netted his second to take it to 3-1. But Forest only need one win to secure staying in the Prem, but they are still waiting on their appeal. So they could either get more added on, more taken off. So it's like a watch this space if you're a Luton or Burnley fan.
I feel bad. Of all the teams, I don't want to go down as Luton and Forest. I don't know which one. I think I want Luton to stay up the most, but it does hurt my heart. I mean, Simon in the chat said Sheffield United a poo. They should give Codry Haver back until they haven't finished paying for him yet. That is true, but they did set a record on the weekend. I believe they're either the first team ever or the first one in a long time to hit 100 goals conceded. Well done, Sheffield United. I mean, that is spectacular. 600. They've done it in style, really, and they've still got games to go. I don't think they're quite going to hit 150. But I mean, Dan, you watch a team that can't defend in the Premier League. Do you think that is an impressive record to set, or what?
It's a sucker punch that you just had to put it that way. Bloody hell, Josh. It's up there with not having that record that, you know, when you're a new team like Luton and you come up and they go, oh, are they even gonna get and beat Derby's points record? Every sort of new team that comes up gets that question hung over them. Everyone looks at that record as like, I don't want to be classed as the shittest team in the Premier League. However, Sheffield United have gone, yeah, we might not be the shittest, but we've conceded the most. So it is what it is.
It's spectacular. I mean, how many 35 games that they've lost? 36. I mean, what's that average out there? 100. That's like 3.6 goals a game.
Yeah, well, I think the last one I was on, I think I was speaking to an Arsenal fan, and they were saying how, you know, he said, oh, we put 11 past Sheffield United, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, we're shit, and we put 9 past them. So like, something's clearly not right. That's major issues. So I don't know. They're trusting Wilder for this rebuild next season, whatever they've got going at Sheffield United. Forest, though, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I really don't. I think they've not really helped their cause with having the chairman on the pitch, then the chairman or whoever getting hold of
Clattenburg as well.
So you're just not helping yourself. If anything, people are just going, right, these guys have admitted to doing something wrong, then appealed it, and then started being, you know, spitting the dummy out, basically. So I don't know how the Premier League are going to play this one. It's a very tough one to call, and I think that's why the Premier League put out Sheffield United relegated, subject to points deductions for Everton and Forest. So now you're sat here thinking, are we relegated? Are we not? Is that why Sheffield United are actually playing, thinking, if we still get points, we've still got a chance of maybe we could still stay up?
So can you imagine the first team to concede 100 plus goals and stay up?
Stay up.
We've got Sheffield United on Saturday at home, so it's our last home match of the season. So we'll get back to you on if they actually concede, because depending on what team we put out, depends on if we score.
I know, because it's almost like a holiday now for Everton the rest of the season. I mean, it seems like, I'm looking at it pretty much Brentford, Everton, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Wolves, Brighton, and maybe Bournemouth. They're on holiday now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really? That's why you want to go out and pump Sheffield United, because why not? No pressure, just go and have a good time. If you're going to score goals, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to wear his looser fitting shorts. I'm not sure if you saw the pod the other week. I thought it was his tight shorts that were restricting the blood flow to his legs that stopped him. So, it could be... It could be it. That could be the game for him to get his scoring boots properly back on. Someone's in the chat, why Forest brought Nuno in, I will never know. Sacked before by a Saudi club. Should he be managing the Premier League? Heather said, I don't think Forest helped themselves by publicly discussing MOL. They Mark Clattenburg goal. What was that? Let's get the Gladiators.
There's no other club in the Premier League that has appointed an ex-referee and gone, right, we need you to basically sort our shit out.
To explain to us after a game why these decisions happened. Because what are you going to benefit from that? Like, it's a necessity.
If you're Clattenburg, what do you do? Right, so do you want my refereeing perspective, or do you want me to say the version that you want to hear that you're going to pay me for?
Bizarre and silly. Very bizarre. So before we sort of lift up from that end of the table, then Sheffield United down pending points deductions. Rebecca, be gentle because it is Dan. Who do you think are the other two for you?
Say it as it is, Rebecca. I don't mind.
For me, and this might annoy some people, I do think it's going to be Burnley and Luton. With everything that's happened with Forest, I can relate to them in terms of the points deduction, and I do feel quite bad in certain aspects of the way they've been treated. So I would like to see them stay up. But then, especially apparently, Luton's chairman was saying about Everton should have had more points off when that all happened. So I've got a bit of a grudge with Luton.
To be fair, if I was Luton, I would have been saying, Everton should have 30 points deducted. That's what I think.
When it lets the Premier League to begin with, I think they wanted us to have a total of 17 off.
Wow.
He should have just went, fuck it, we'll just go into administration. We won't exist anymore.
We'd have had less if we'd have gone into
9.
Administration. That's only 9.
Mental, isn't it? It's mental. Daniel, who are your other two teams?
Yeah, I think it's going to be us and Forest. I think Luton are going to do it. I think, obviously, I think Forest will get the points. I don't think they'll get it rescinded or anything. I think they'll just get it given back. If that, they'll find that as a happy medium. I think Forest will take that as well and say, right, after all the crap we've given you, you're not going to add an extra 2 points off. But I just have this niggling feeling that Luton will rally together. They've got that sort of do or die every game week, where you don't know what Forest you're going to get from the next. Now, it's going to be tough because Forest got Chelsea at the City Ground next week. Forest have already beaten Chelsea this season. So Forest will be full of confidence, thinking, we've beaten once, so why can't we go and do it again? Which is a worry as a Burnley fan when you're away at Spurs and Spurs are Spurs. You don't know what you're going to get. I sound like Spurs are a bit like, what's it called?
Garbage. That's what they are.
They are. I think that there were a video the other week, weren't they, of Ange Postecoglou proper going in on them. And he was really shouting. And but I was going into Forrest Gump, Spurs are Spurs, you don't know what you're going to get. But yeah, it's going to be a very difficult next 2 game weeks for the final 2. Like I say, it's cup finals for all 3 teams down there.
I'm looking at the fixtures. So, like you said, if Forest, Chelsea, and then Burnley, Forest. So you were going to have a say in these things. And I think I was just looking at Luton's is.
Yeah, but Josh, it's just like Burnley to actually get a result against Spurs, and that optimism is just oozing out. You get to Turf Moor and you get dick 2-0, you get relegated, and you just want to wipe your existence off the world. You don't want to be here anymore, and you just enough's enough.
Well, I think like as I'm looking at Luton's got West Ham, who've just David Moyes is going, and you don't know what West Ham you're going to get. And then Fulham on the last team. Fulham have nothing to play for, nothing at all. I mean, I could see Luton getting 4 out of that, but then Forest, I could maybe see them getting 4. But like everybody's saying, Heather's saying there, and Mr. Luke, somehow Chelsea are on fire, and they. I mean, we'll fleetingly touch on them in a moment. I'd like to laugh at Chelsea, but they've really dicked that up for me the last couple of weeks. But they're scoring a lot. I could see Chelsea doing Forest, and then Burnley, you could like bring them down with you and just drag them down, like one of them horror movies at the end. It's exciting. I mean, I didn't realize sort of the 2 games they're both winnable really for both teams. And come on, Luton. Oh dear. Right. What are the? Let's talk about something else football related. Dan, what games did I ask you to talk about? Because I can't remember.
2 Sunday fixtures. 2 Sunday fixtures. Oh, interesting from Spenny fan in the chat.
Where is he? Oh my days! Look at that.
You called it. You called it, Josh.
I did say 3-0. I said 3-0 a couple of hours ago. You can go onto my Twitter. I was not being mean to a Man United fan. I was just responding to they thought United were going to win 1-0, and I was like, oh, look at your team. Look at Palace's form. I don't think so, me old cocker. I said 2 or 3-0. It is 3-0. And there we are. According to Google, United's chance of a win is 0.3%, which is very nice and spenny. Look, I'm so glad he's there. Tarek Mitchell, 58 minute, 3-0. Mr. Luke can't be bothered with United. Who can? Who wants to be bothered with United? Heather's gloating, but it depends on the time of year that you go to play Crystal Palace. Because, I mean, their new manager, while we're on it, what's his face? Jean-Paul Gaultier. I can't remember his name.
Ollie Glasner, in it, something like that.
Glasner, that is it. He's doing bits there. I mean, Dan, what do you think of the change around he's had at Crystal Palace? It's been pretty good, isn't it?
It were. In fact, luckily enough, I got to be in South London for his first game when they beat us at Selhurst Park. So, but you could see what he'd done already in that short few days he'd been there, how it had changed the philosophy a little bit. You could see the players had more belief in what they were trying to achieve and what they were trying to do. So he has done some amazing stuff, and I think it will only get better for Forest. A lot of questions were asked as well, weren't they? After Roy Hodgson, who comes in at Forest, at Palace, who comes in and sort of takes over? But Glasner, perfect appointment.
Yeah. He's done well. I mean, Rebecca, do you like a Crystal Palace not being the world's most boring team?
Yeah, it is. It's fun to watch him at the moment. I mean, the turnaround of like Elise and Eze at the moment, like Elise tonight, as you've been running rings around United, it's a good one.
It is, and it'd be interesting to see what happens in the summer now, because they're putting themselves up playing well. A lot of people were targeting Elise, Mateta, and Eze from Palace. I don't know if it's an attractive proposition for them to leave now. I still think a lot of teams will have sway. I mean, and even United will have sway because it's United and they've got lots of money. But you'd think twice, wouldn't you? Do a Celine Dion and you say, baby, think twice. If you don't know that, if you're too young and you don't know that one, check it out. What a tune by the Canadian songstress. Beautiful. I mean, let's just touch on quick the West Ham United, because we'll talk a bit about Moyes as well. Chelsea 5. If Nicholas Jackson is scoring 2 goals against you, shame on you. But Dan, how did that game make you feel?
Well, hear ye. It's, to be fair, I was expecting a close game. I actually had money on all 3 games that day while I was in work, and I had West Ham nicking this. I actually had Yes, please do. But I did have West Ham to nick it. I thought Chelsea are on a downward spiral at the moment. You don't know what you're going to get from Poch. And, a London derby just caught fire. It just opened up at Stamford Bridge. And for your manager to come out, game aside, for your manager to come out and basically say that the reason that they shot at defending is because they sold Declan Rice. I'm sorry, but if you're a defender, how crap must you feel knowing that, sorry that I'm not good enough because your little understudy's now gone. Sorry that I didn't step up for you. But it was embarrassing defending. It was absolutely shocking defending. Again, it was mostly just simple play by Chelsea. Cross came in. Striker couldn't quite connect with it. Cole Palmer, who clearly just can't stop scoring at the moment, fired home the opener. Bowen, by the way, clips a crossbar in this game 3 times. Like Petrovic was just stood there like that. You fire away, mate. It's there at your mercy, and he just did nothing. Shoddy defending costed West Ham again. Is it Maduwaka? Maduwuku? Who?
I always thought it was Maduki. Are you on about the winger?
Yeah, I'm just going to call him Nonny. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll go Nonny. It's easier. Nonny couldn't quite get his shot away, and then it cannoned into the air. And what a volley by Conor Gallagher, by the way, to even get it under control for 2-0. Chelsea corner for the third. Thiago Silva jumps up, leaps like a salmon at the back post, and then again,
8 years old.
He's a real player. For him to come to the Premier League at the age he were and still be a standout performer in that Chelsea.
Have you seen
side.
he's going this year?
Yeah. It's
he's not looked. He's slow, but he hasn't looked out of place, has he?
No. I think if you know what you're doing and your vision's there and your defensive awareness, pace doesn't count for nothing, really. As long as you can keep up with play, and you already, a bit like snooker, if you can anticipate that next move before your first one, does he really need to have the pace if he's already anticipating it? So he is an absolute stalwart of the game, and I think he'll be a massive loss to Chelsea. But it's him who rose the highest.
Yeah.
He sort of headed it down, but Nonny just little tapping at the back post, off his head, blinked that one in. Chelsea then rattled the crossbar. It was good work by Palmer to turn his man inside out. Ball comes in. Gallagher smashes it against the bar from a couple of yards. But it was too easy for Chelsea as well. Fourth was a simple ball in behind the defence. Nonny unselfishly picked out Nicholas Jackson. He could have gone alone, but didn't. And he just slots into an open net, and it was very, very woeful from the Hammers. And then Jackson obviously bagged the fifth. VAR initially said he was offside. But, as VAR have done this season, they have had a bit of a comical cat in the hat moment. And speaking of cat in the hat, it was Kurt Zuma's left foot who kept him onside. So, and by the way, can I just say, Moses Caicedo, who's had probably a very, very mixed start to his Chelsea career, he played in a beautiful weighted pass for that fifth goal. And, Jackson just did the biz, finished the game off. West Ham were awful. Not much else to say. Chelsea actually won a game of football comfortably and actually looked like they merited the performance as well.
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned a lot. You can't add Newcastle, West Ham United's bad offensive play. Moyes' comments out there, and a lot of the West Ham fans are unhappy with his style of play. Do you think this is a lovely way to sign off your last couple of games? Surely.
Yeah, and I don't think West Ham fans could even be, degrading to what Moyes has achieved with them. He's won them a European trophy. West Ham seem to think because they're a London club, and no offense to any West Ham fans, but because you're in and amongst those elite of the Arsenal, Chelsea, etc., don't think that you are on that similar level. You are still, no disrespect, Rebecca. I keep saying no disrespect to a lot of people today, but they are on a level with Everton in terms of their club level, player wise. maybe different. Oh, Palace.
I know. I was just going to say,
Wow.
I mean, they're not even one of the elite London clubs because Crystal Palace
No.
seem to be taking that with Elise. Elise in there. I think is that his second now? Yeah, his second. Elise 4-0. Oh, they've made me look like a fool. Thinking just 3-0 was going to be enough. 4-0 Crystal Palace. Oh my days.
Nice.
I mean,
Chelsea
that's
were
what.
decent.
But that's what I said earlier about fans. Where's your expectations of where your club's going to be? Because for me, West Ham are exactly where they should hope that they can get to. They are not a top 8 Premier League team.
Let's not forget David Moyes has had 2 spells at West Ham. You know, he had the moment during the Rick Golden Sullivan era, and obviously that all kicked off. You know, tennis balls on the pitch, all that shenanigans. Goes, comes back, and as a fan, you're probably thinking, why have we got in this shower of shit who couldn't really rip up trees for us the first time? But he seemed to get him playing, and like I say, they went and won something. They've won a cup, they've won a trophy. Do not grumble, because it could be a lot worse. I mean, is the manager that's touted to be going in going to be enough to take them to that next level? Who knows? I mean, he couldn't really do it with Wolves, so let's see.
And like one of his big bugbears at Wolves as well was money, wasn't it? Around like transfers, and you know, I don't know if you know this or not, but West Ham ain't a big one for spending loads and loads of money. so I just think it's confusing. I can see why Moyes would want to go, but I think I watched a Sky Sports video with what's his name, Ray Winston, and he said, you know, be careful what you wish for. I think that's I think West Ham are going to find that out this season.
There used to be a plethora of managers out there that if it all went to shit, there's always someone that could come in, a stopgap. Now there's none of that. There's none of that anymore. Like I say, Big Sam's clearly going to be having his RB for Weekender. It's the summer, so he'll be out there giving it all this on the dance floor. No one's
sweating like a beast. Can you imagine? I'd love to go raving with Big Sam. Come on, boys! Sausage roll! Be awesome. He'd take them all out, wouldn't he? What a man.
But I'm going for a kebab. No, the kebab comes to you.
Come on! Oh, I'd love it. Oh, this did I spray you with my sweat? That's all I could expect from him.
Pulling his best Terry Crews on the dance floor, just like with glow sticks.
Oh my days, that's gone off track fast. What were we talking? I don't know.
I don't know. There wasn't that. Yeah, there's not that many plethora of managers out there that could step in.
Oh, there we go. It, managers. Yeah, I mean, Rebecca Lopetegui, is he one that you think is going to be a good move for West Ham, or are they going to be wishing Moyes was back?
I think that they're going to be wishing that Moyes was back. I mean, I'd be buzzing if I were ninth in league and not near bottom. So it's one of them. It's like, it's an odd one. And to see what Moyes has done with the club, as Dan said, it's just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right to see him leave West Ham. Like, I mean, he'd prefer to go under the current circumstances of he's had like the choice to be like, right, I'm going under my own terms in a way. I mean, it's not because he's already signed on a new manager, but he's not been sacked. So it's like he's going with a bit more positivity than if he would have been sacked.
He's just going to finish his contract. The only bad thing is, if I was David Moyes, I'd be thinking, well, could have made this decision like 5 games ago, sack me, and I would have got a payoff, and I could be on holiday already now with like a couple of mil in my back pocket. That'd be nice. So I feel sorry for him in that instance, but you know, in another way, I don't, because I'm sure he'll be fine financially. But yeah, so that is West Ham. It'll be interesting to see what happens. What happens here? I mean, staying on the same day, somebody was going to tell me about Brighton 1, Aston Villa 0. Was that you, Daniel?
It was indeed.
Oh, Daniel, how did it make you feel?
You know what? Surprised, because Villa obviously chasing Champions League qualification and bottled it. and bottled it to some aplomb as well. Brighton all over them throughout this game. You wouldn't have even thought it. Villa looked non-existent. They dominated in terms of chances, did Brighton. The only reason Villa were kept in this game and it only finished 1-0 was thanks to their keeper, Robin Olsen. It was save after save after save. He saved the initial penalty, prior to the goal as well. But Brighton's play was just stupendous. They were making one-touch passes, playing it in behind. Pascal Grob, whatever you want to call him, this foreign dodgy S's, scored. It rolled out for offside. Again, it's one of those by a toe sort of incidents. But then Ezri Konsa's foul on Ansu Fati led to the penalty. For me, again, it's one of them where if it happens to your team, you're like, oh, check club badge. It's one of them consistency fouls where it could be given one week but not given the next. There weren't enough on it for me, but again, there weren't enough on it for João Pedro from the spot. It was saved by Olsen, who was in inspired form, and then Pedro just slotted it in for the rebound. But that's put a big dent in Villa's hopes and what Emery's trying to achieve with the claret and blue of the Midlands.
Yeah, I mean they've got Liverpool at home next game, which I'd like to think they'd lose based on our performance. Yes, they could very well do. And then Crystal Palace away. I think that might be their last chance for 3 points. I think personally, and then they're just relying on Tottenham not to win all of their games, which are Burnley, City, and Sheffield United. So, I mean, do you think that is it? Do you think they've blown their last chance for getting points on the board there and they're relying on Spurs?
Yeah, they are relying on Spurs. And like I said, the demolition job you did on Spurs, which I'm sure we'll get to, that's only going to put fire in the bellies of the Spurs players to try and think, right, well, Villa are losing. Okay, we've lost a big one, but let's go on and put it right now. We hold the upper hand. If anything, it's just like Spurs to bottle it. It's a bit like the Championship a few weeks ago. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to win the league. Nobody wanted the playoffs. Everyone were losing. It could be one of them in the next 2 weeks between Villa and Spurs where, results for either side could be very dodgy.
Very, very dodgy. I mean, we'll talk about Spurs because obviously Liverpool, we pumped them. Give them a good pumping.
Just a bit.
Yeah, up until the end when it was like everybody was finished. I think I heard the best comment, a descriptive term about that game was after Liverpool went 4-0 up, they said it turned into a bit of like a Legends charity game. Like everybody was like, we're all right, we're just going to kick about, yeah, ole, all of that sort of jazz. I mean, did either of you catch anything from that game? I won't expect Rebecca to be
malaria
Liverpool performance. So.
I will say the Harvey Elliott goal was quite a nice one. I do say that through gritty teeth, but it was a nice one.
Yeah, I'll be honest, as a Liverpool fan, it's nice to see because that's a performance we've got in Arsenal, and it almost feels a little bit now that the title is effectively gone, that they're almost playing without that pressure now of it being Klopp's last season, and really we need to do something for him because I mean, I think people need to remember at the start of the season, this was never a season where we thought we were going to win the title because the season before we had just struggled to do anything with a lot of injuries, but we had a bad season and we had a whole brand new midfield and all that jazz. So I sort of think that was never on the cards for us really this year until Klopp announced he was going. Everybody thought we had to, but it's looked a little bit like that pressure's off, and everybody's just playing beautiful football and enjoying themselves, having a bit of fun, which is lovely. It's really nice. So at least Jurgen can enjoy his last couple of games that he's got in the club, which is really nice. But I mean, for Spurs, I mean, for me, I think this is Ange's real litmus test of what he's going to be like as a manager in the Premier League. I think I'd like to think he's got next season, unless Spurs' owners decide to go kamikaze. But I mean, if I start with, yeah, But I mean, but Rebecca, do you think Ange is? Do you think there's a lot of work to do there, or just little tweaks? What do you think's gone on these last sort of? Well, it's the first time they've lost 4 Premier League games consecutively in X amount of time. It's a very long record.
Yeah, it does seem like he's got quite a bit of work to do. I think like summer will be a big one to see the ingoings and outgoings of the club. But there's something that's gone a bit astray, especially with like you see the likes of Son. He goes from scoring week in and week out to then like not seeing much of him, and then it's like he got a goal on against Liverpool, didn't he? I think, yeah.
He did.
So it's one of them. It's like there are a few little things of he goes from being incredible to then you don't even know he's on the pitch half of the time. So it's one of them. There does seem to be a couple of issues that he's facing, and whether he is the right one to stay with Spurs is going to be a big question, because I think it's like comments that he makes at times just seem a bit like, oh, are you really saying that? But I feel as it's an odd one, because Spurs have, for me, they've always been this team where they're just there. They're either sometimes they'll play all right, sometimes they're not. They're just there for majority of the season for me. So it's not a shock, but then it's not something to expect really for me.
Yeah, because I mean, I think again they're one of those teams that I think the fan base needs to appreciate where they are, and it's not being demeaning about Spurs. I think Spurs' biggest issue is the way that they run.
Yeah.
I don't think they run to be a massively successful team. They run to be where they are consistently, and they'll never peak beyond that because there isn't the investment put into it across the board. But I mean, for you, Dan, next season, obviously, Andrew's big one. Do you think he's still the man that they need to put faith in? And do you think you'll be able to do any different next season?
I think Spurs need to look at Liverpool a little bit and try and emulate what Liverpool have done, sort out that midfield. I think the likes of Bentancur, Bissouma have been passengers this season. Defensively, they've got very, solid young defence that will learn from their mistakes. But yeah, if they can emulate what Liverpool have done this year, sort out a complete new midfield. I dare say even a winger. I don't think Brennan Johnson's of top Premier League quality. I think if anything, for me, Brennan Johnson could happily fall under the Zaha United category, where it just not seemed to work from going from one club to the next. So yeah, I think if they can take something from that Liverpool game, it's that, maybe if we had a midfield just as quality as this, people won't pass us as much as they have done, and we wouldn't be passengers in games. So Ange's got a big task next season to try and shape up that squad, add some quality to it. We know he's got contacts in many different leagues. So who knows what will happen? But Spurs need something. I think the transfer market will be pivotal for him.
Because I mean, if you look at his career, he's not had a season following a year like this. Yeah. He's always done quite well. He's been at teams that have performed quite well consistently. He hasn't been at a team which is sort of, if you remember, because they're mental, Spurs fans in like September going, we're going to win the league. Look at this. We've unbeaten after 10 games. We're going to destroy everybody, because that was silly. But he's not had that sort of massive fall off and the issues that he's had. And I think it's the reason why it's the toughest league that it is. It's the reason why I think I predicted them to be sort of around 7th to 10th, because I just felt it's a big challenge, and this will certainly be the biggest one for him. I mean, Spenny fan I put up there already. He's watched the second half, and Liverpool's defence weren't great to concede 2 goals. And I think they couldn't be bothered in the second half. and a valid point, I think, from Simon's Big Ange needs to realise Ange Ball won't work here every week. And it's not, and sometimes you've got to be able to make that change. And kudos him to still try, but you've got to be a bit more flexible. But I mean, I think this will be the last Premier League game we'll cover for now, is just going to be Arsenal 3, a contentious Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 0. I think, is it you, Rebecca? I asked to educate me on how did that one make you feel?
It was a good one. It was a good watch. Enjoyed it. Feel sorry for Bournemouth. It was very even when it came to possession. I think it was like 56 for Arsenal, 44 for Bournemouth. So it was very evenly matched, but shots were incredible from Arsenal. I think they limited Bournemouth to 2 on target, and then they did find back at net, but that got ruled out. But yeah, so Saka took the lead with penalty. Trossard, he's coming into his own now, I think. Like him, he's got a couple of goals under his belt, and I think that he will be flying with Arsenal next season. And then Rice, also on the score sheet. It does mean that there is 1 point at the top of the league now, but City do have a game in hand, so it's all to play for. So it's going to be very interesting. But
Spurs could have a say in that as well, couldn't they?
Yeah. Well, they could do, but it's Spurs.
So mean.
Get the digs in while we can. But yeah, Bournemouth did have a goal ruled out for a foul, I think it was, if I read it right.
Yeah, I mean, was it a foul? I don't know if you saw that, Dan. It looked more like he sort of was in the same space as the keeper.
Yeah. It's a strange one. You see him given, but then you see him sort of just waved away. It's a tough one to call.
In real time, it looks like a penalty, but slowed down, it isn't, which is the issue that you have with VAR. Of in real time, it can be, but slow it down and pause it each little frame, and it's not. It's an odd one.
There were one in Burnley game where Assignon gets literally tugged on the back of his shirt and pushed to the ground like this. But then we got nothing. Anthony Gordon literally skips past Josh Brownhill, and Brownhill sort of touches him on the shoulder like that. And Gordon just goes, I'm never doing that again, because that looks very, I nearly did it again. I nearly did it again. Nearly. But yeah, it just went down very, very easy. And again, it's something you get that, don't you? Where if a player goes down, gets straight back up, referee goes, "Oh, he seems to be fine, no penalty, we'll let it go." But stays down, they start asking their own questions in their head. I'd hate to be a referee.
Yeah, because I mean, there's stuff like that the Arsenal goal where Havertz, I think it was Havertz, just left decided, I'm going to leave this leg. I don't need it to continue this run anymore. I'm just going to leave this all the way over here until he physically couldn't carry on and fell over and got a penalty for that. In real time, I mean, that's where I think VAR was meant to help, because then they can look at that and go, yeah, he decided his leg doesn't work anymore. I don't know whether he thought he was having a stroke mid-game or something and his left side had gone entirely. I don't quite know. But instead of saying looking for a penalty, which he was, and it makes it hard. I mean, Rebecca, what do you think that was a penalty? Do you think Bournemouth should have had the goal?
I think Bournemouth should have had the goal.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was, everything's a bit too close. Like when you're looking at all the replays, depending on who's posted it, if it's an Arsenal fan or a Bournemouth fan, it'll depend on like what view you get. So half of the time I'm like, oh, it is. Other times I'm like, wait, no, it's not, because it's just it's a controversial one again. And unless you're Ashley Young, I don't think you're getting away with anything in the Premier League at the moment.
I mean, for me, what I would say is, and to any Arsenal fans, is you need these decisions to go for you to win the league, especially at a time when it is an unstoppable Man City team that, whether you agree with how they've been built up is by the fact that they're an unstoppable machine. You need those decisions. You need to be allowed to have Odegaard to basketball the ball away against Liverpool to avoid a penalty. You need to have Havertz winning penalties like that. You need those decisions to happen, and they have been, and that is why they'll be in it towards the end. But in the chat though, I didn't miss it. I did see it. There is Miss Jeffs. Miss Jeffs is there with us. And the reason for her lateness, she thought it was Sunday. Shameful.
That's the only problem with bank holidays, isn't it?
Well, yeah, heavy drinking has just made her forget what day it is. That's what it is. I don't know what we do. And Simon's saying VAR's never been the problem. It's the bells that are using it. It's the Notre Dames that are using it. And maybe they need some training. Mr. Luke thought it was a Sunday. And Chris agrees with you. Bank holidays, just spoil it. I've loved it. I love a good bank holiday. And Heather's in the Arsenal fans saying they thought we should have got the goal and no pen too, but Chrissy did a high tackle. I think that's meant to be Saka. Or it could be Sava. I don't know. Maybe there was a different game, but it should have been a red. Yeah, there's. Yeah, I mean, these things swings about and they do get it. But I mean, at the moment, I think yes, it is Saka. It's not Sava, but I assume so. Incidentally, did you see the tackle on Saka and the state of his shins afterwards? Did that not make you think maybe we're a shin pad? Call me crazy, but yeah, that's just a by the by.
I don't get these little tiny fucking Pringles on your shin. Like, what's the point? It's literally a Pringle on your shin. It's stupid.
Yeah.
I personally, what has happened to football? Like, people used to wear like a Nintendo Switch down the flaming sock. You know, it was that thick and padded.
Yeah.
It was literally.
I used to have one that you put it on like a sock and it had like the ankle protection.
So you've got like 100%, and it used to really do my head in the bit under your arch of your foot because you'd take a shot and then it'd like spoon off the back of your foot. Used to hate it.
Claire spoke to Mac. I don't know whether she means Steve McManaman or whether there's another Mac that I don't know because I'm not cool enough. I'm not down with the cool kids in absolutely lower league. Unfortunately,
she's dealing with League One players now.
I never get invited. Do you know what? I never get invited to play with the absolutely lower league team, so I'm not cool enough for that gang. So to you lot, but, whatever. But yeah, it was meant to stop shins, but. I don't know. I would potentially rather risk a shin splint than having my shin smashed open.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know, same thing.
It's the same with the cutting of the back of the socks, isn't it? It's
what is
stupid.
that? Chris is saying that they should ban the shin pad. It's looking like a Pringle. It should be like a normal. Yeah, I don't get it. Just wear a normal one. Just wear a normal shin pad. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, and before we so should we move on? Yeah, yes. So we'll look at the league now. I mean, where that does leave us, that Arsenal game is. Let me get rid of this little logo at the top so we can all see it together. They're 1 point ahead of Man City, who I don't even know who Man City are playing, but I'm assuming City are going to win all of their games. Let's be fair, because that's just what they do. Because they're jerks, aren't they? Fulham, I think Man City, their next couple of games, who have they got? They've got Fulham, Spurs, and West Ham. So let's be fair. It's 9 points that they're taking there. So at the moment, in reality, Arsenal need to hope City sort of slip up, as it were. But what do you think? I mean, Daniel, are you feeling Man City or Arsenal for this?
I sort of. It's been a while since Arsenal have won something. I think it'd be nice to see another team win it. I think after Goldbridge's outrage the other week about that the Premier League isn't fun anymore, it's boring, etc. It would be nice to see another team win it. But for the pure fact that you've seen Stockport win League 2, Portsmouth win League 1, Leicester win the Championship, all teams in blue have won the league, so it's clearly written Manchester City are probably going to go and do it.
Bollocks! Do you know what? I didn't even think about that. Bollocks! There we are. So Rebecca, when are Everton winning? This was your year, and you missed out. But are you going for a team in blue, or do you think Arsenal are going to be able to keep enough pressure to make Man City buckle?
I keep saying reverse the league and you've got a very better, interesting competition going on if you look at that.
Definitely. I'll take second place.
I'd love to see Arsenal do it because I do want a change of someone else to win it, but you just can't really see Man City slipping up unless I've jinxed them now when they do. Then you are welcome, Arsenal. But yeah, I can see City doing it as much as I want Arsenal to.
I mean, and Claire's saying the other three all wore the same shade of blue, and that them lot in the faded blue can duck right off. Because for audio listeners, you can't see what's written. She's actually said "fuck," but I edited that out, so it sounds much better as we don't get told off. They said, yes, Royal Blue teams only. And Simon said after I nearly got the WSL pod cancelled, it's surprised he won't let me on the Thursday one. Just mean. I did no such thing. I don't know what they've insinuated. But a question. Okay, we'll run through this league, and then there's a question that we were asked, which I'll give us a chance to answer. So at the moment, so as we said, the Brighton beat Aston Villa 1-0. Chelsea smashed West Ham 5-0. Liverpool 4-2 against Spurs. Arsenal beat Bournemouth 3-0. Brentford and Fulham drew 0-0. Nobody cares. I don't very much they even care this week. The game against Burnley, we'll just skip past that one like it didn't happen. Forest beat Sheffield United 3-1. Man City beat Wolves 5-1. Man City win games, that's why we didn't cover that one. And Luton drew 1-1. So that does leave, as we said, Arsenal at the top, 1 point ahead of Man City, who have a game in hand. And unfortunately, those Man City with their game in hand are still 4 points ahead of Liverpool in third position, who are 11 points well ahead of Aston Villa in fourth. So you've got Aston Villa on 67 points, Spurs on 60, Newcastle on 56. Potentially, you could argue they have all three of them are battling for the Champions League positions. But Newcastle, Chelsea, 56, 54, United on 54 points. That is not going to be changing after this evening's game. I think it was 4-0 still. And they're not beating Crystal Palace. They'll be sitting there, so allegedly fighting up for the conference. Unless you could say, you don't want the UEFA conference, and that's why they're doing so badly now, because they just don't want to chance it. But on the bottom then, Sheffield United setting records, 100 goals conceded in 36 games, 16 points. Burnley on 24, Luton 26, Nottingham Forest on 29, very tight down the bottom there. And a boom pool is saying the thing, reverse the same, and reverse the league, and United is still not in Europe. Yeah, it's a difficult time. I do feel for, no doubt, I think Sam will be on next week. No doubt he'll be able to give you all the love and sympathy for Manchester United. But I haven't got any because it's cyclical and you destroyed my life for years. So I'm glad they're no longer there to hurt me. There is, speak of the devil, the man, the myth, the legend himself. If you haven't checked it out, Sam and Charlotte did a Rochdale review video. Absolutely fantastic. A huge amount of work, very clearly a huge amount of work by Sam gone into that. So please check it out and show lots of love, because who doesn't want to see Sam and Charlotte talking football anyway, let alone the great work they did on that. So please check that out. Please saying tanking the Conference League. Ten Hag is a genius. It's deliberate. I'm telling you, he is doing it deliberately. And that is exactly his plan. But something we were asked before we move on to any of the other leagues. I think it was Spenny fan Chris much earlier on asked us what we were feeling for the Championship playoffs. And so just in case you don't know, it's Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, Norwich City. If memory serves, it'll be Leeds versus West Brom, Southampton versus Norwich City. Who you feel? I mean, Dan, in a small amount of words, who are you feeling to get promoted out of the playoffs?
Ideally, I won't want any of them. I'd have preferred a new name coming in. Like, I'm gutted Hull missed out, to be honest. I'm
gutted Coventry missing.
Well, yeah, that's totally understandable. I don't know. I'd probably say Southampton. Nobody wants to see Leeds back up. Can't be arsed with them.
Do you know, I wanted Leeds back because I don't like West. I don't know what it is about West Brom. It's just something.
No, they're just there. West Brom were like the Rotherham of the Premier League for years. They were just there, to-ing and fro-ing all the time. Same with Norwich. Southampton, they had a story similar to Leeds. Dropped to League One, had all the financial trouble, rebuilt, and got back up. So, yeah, I know Leeds did the same, but it's Leeds. Nobody likes Leeds, so do one. You bottled it. See in a bit, Southampton.
Rebecca, what are you thinking?
I think I said on the lower League One last Thursday, Norwich.
Is Norwich. I'm going for Leeds. We've got something different all over there. And of course, if you do want some quality lower league chat, including the Championship and all of the leagues below that, almost all of them, we're right going down to the national leagues at the moment. I think they're doing, which is it, National League North, I think. I can't remember. If you check out hashtag I want it lower, you'll find it on Twitter. But that is on a Thursday at 8:30, headed up by Charlotte and the Wowdy Wabble, are all going to be there smashing it. And seeing as Sam is here, he did do a proper write-up on the Liga. And Real Madrid's again reign in Spain with an impressive campaign where they remain top of their domain like a runaway train and can open that champagne. Look at that, and I read it. Isn't that good? And Barcelona could not contain Girona, who will gain from Barca's pain, booking their Champions League plane, while Barca can't complain as their defensive strain could not restrain Girona's attacking brain with a thrill to entertain. Sweet Jane, Wayne, and Elaine. I don't know if there's any more vibes now, but that was fun. Barcelona twice blew a lead away at Girona with their defence, quite frankly, all over the place, losing 4-2 at Girona as they jumped Barca into second place. The match finished with a tasty volley from Christian Portu, 50 minutes of time, sealing the deal. And Spenny fan watched the Girona Barca game, and he loved it. Great result for Girona. And I love the fact that... incidentally, Barcelona decided Xavi's going to stay. He's staying, and then they get battered 4-2. Well done. They were only playing well because they were glad he was leaving. So honestly, come on, get with it. But Real Madrid had already done their business by beating Cadiz 3-0 at the Bernabeu, with the returning Courtois making a brilliant one-on-one save before Madrid turned on the goals. With Barcelona's drop points, it confirmed Real Madrid win the Spanish La Liga for the 14,589th time. And we're all very excited. You think the Premier League got boring? You want to drop over to Spain, baby. But break yourself, put down that cup of tea for risk of spilling, hold the hand of the person next to you unless you're on a train and they look a bit suspect. Do not scratch your eyes. Almeida won their second game of the season. Viva la noche! 2 games, look at that. 1-0 win at Rayo Vallecano, the birthplace of the alternative volcano, as Coco Lozano, Spanish for chocolate lozenge, scored the only goal of the game in the 30th minute. Almeida is still done and dusted, but it's nice to see you nice. Elsewhere, Atletico Madrid moved 6 points clear in that all-important 4th Champions League place, which was needed as nine-man Atletico Bilbao picked up a 2-0 win away at Getafe the night before. Real Sociedad hold on to the Europa League place, winning 2-0 against Las Palmas, as Real Betis remain in the hunt with a 2-0 win over Osasuna, which is also lovely. 2-0s everywhere. And Valencia's hopes of Europe took a blow with Xavi Lopez hitting them like a dagger to their Valetian hearts for Deportivo. Good God. Alves, I'm boiling hot. I'm sweating my head off in here. That's why I'm starting to struggle now. At the bottom, Granada are buggered. As they lost 3-0 to Sevilla, Cadiz lose at Madrid, but some 6 points behind Mallorca. Let me leave you with this important Spanish fact. Nudity is actually illegal in Spain, but is considered inappropriate in a number of places. So feel free to go and loose on the beach. Be cautious if you're riding a tricycle. There you go. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam, for that. And that is actually the only European League write-up that we have because I was away all weekend and didn't follow anything. And nobody else has told us what's going on because most of the leagues are all done and dusted. Crazy people saying Barcelona is the manager market is not great, so there's no chance. And therefore, the players have no fear of someone kicking them out. So from relaxed performances, they were very relaxed. That is like when you've had... as a lady, when you have an injection and the baby just comes out, or if you're feeling well and you have that pill and your bowel just open, that is how relaxed, the type of relaxed Barcelona are at the moment. So Serie A, if you're interested, the league's done. The league's done and dusted, I think like 3 or 4 games ago with Inter Milan. Still winning up there. Anything else interesting? Swaswaswowo. I actually beat them 1-0. AC Milan drew 3-3 with Genoa. They're pretty much assured, though, in second position as well. And Claire's abusing me for something. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's to do with like the injection and with all the placenta and bits come out, the afterbirth. That's what I was looking for. If you've not had kids yet, it's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time. Lots of lovely stuff that goes on there. So Dan can empathise. I'm sure he's sitting there thinking, please, Josh, don't. I'm having PTSD. And Rebecca's going, oh, God. Don't worry. We'll stick to the enema That's the word I was looking for. I was sick to the enema example instead. Pill up your bum, poo everywhere. Barcelona performance. So yeah. What's happening?
Xavi's saying Barcelona are having an enema. It's
just gone, isn't it? We're done now. We might as well sit trapped because people have just.
Is it Barcelona's arse that's falling out, Josh, or is yours just falling out right now?
I think that's the first time I've stumped myself in quite a long time. Don't know, just broken myself now. Claire's obviously enjoying it. She's reminiscing on earlier times. Football. What did Juventus do? Did they play football? Yes, they drew 1-1 with Roma. They've actually turned it around a little bit, and everybody's giving me grief now. There we go. The chat is catching up. It's a long bank holiday. I'm struggling at the moment, and this is why I'm too bad for the lower league show. This is why they don't have me on. But ultimately, what's going on? Salernitana were losing to 2-1 at the time, but at Atalanta were playing them. This is when I did this today. They were playing midday on a Monday. Get that. Don't know what happened. Not concerned either. Anyway, because the Serie A and the league's done. Inter have won it. Salernitana are down. Sassuolo and Udinese are still battering it out. And Empoli are down there with Frozone as well. Frozone, the good guy out of The Incredibles, who was best man for Mr. Incredible's wedding. A little bit of trivia there for you. Yes, supervised for 1 week. No, I don't know what it is because it's late. It's because it's late in the past my bedtime 3 minutes ago now. Let's move on to another league. The Bundesliga. This is done as well. The Bundesliga's done. Leverkusen are up there that they have won. Bayern Munich are, in theory, should be nailed on for second position, but Stuttgart are still keeping the pressure on. They beat them 3-1 at the weekend. To keep that pressure on. So Bayern Munich might have one of their worst seasons in loads and loads of seasons because they've won.
Hurricane effect.
I tell you what, Spursy, they're spreading the Spursy vibes, and not just having Eric Dyer as well. When you've got Dyer at the back, it gets Dyer at the back, and that enema stuff earlier.
As soon as you said Dyer, I thought this is going back south again.
This has really gone downhill. You can tell it's late. I bet my wife's in the other room thinking, Josh, stop. She's going to come in a minute and just disconnect the Wi-Fi. Like, I'll save you all, gadonk. So Stuttgart beat Bayern Munich 3-1. It's many fans say it was a great result for them. They've actually had a really solid season. They performed really well, certainly with expectation. It'd be great to see them in the Champions League. Leipzig, what did Leipzig do? They drew 1-1 with Hoffenheim, and Hoffenheim are doing quite well. They've sort of pulled themselves up from where they were at the start of the season. Any other big results was by Borussia Dortmund beat Augsburg 5-1. But a very up and down season continues. You can see by their form in the last 5 games, very up and down, not just the results, but within the games themselves. Very interesting. Jadon Sancho had one good game against Man United, and apparently he's the greatest thing in the universe. So, who knows what's going to happen. But where else are we? Nothing else too exciting because that is done. But the league as it stands is Leverkusen, Xavi Alonso, the man, the myth, the legend, the most beautiful midfielder to grace the game. He's done it. He did it ages ago. They still haven't lost. They're still not losing. They don't believe in it. They're going to keep going until they have an invincible season. Potentially that is on the cards. And that will be one of the first invincible seasons I think the Bundesliga's ever had. Wouldn't that be exciting? And so I'm saying, he doesn't think Rebecca will want to be on the pod with me again anytime soon. She's bloody loving it. She's getting an education here. She's going, right, don't mention enemas. Don't mention afterbirth. She's got loads of pointers for what not to do. She'll be a much better
Every time any of us are ill from now on, I'm like, oh, I need the toilet, but nothing's happening. All we're going to think of is you and your toilet. Oh, Josh said Barcelona. If I take a tablet, it'll come out. Barcelona.
I'll be like Barcelona.
She'll be on the toilet.
Explain that one to
Barcelona.
work. Explain that one to work. I can't come in. I've got Barcelona.
Yeah. You'll be like that
Sanking down
song.
my La Liga.
It's like I was told shout Harold, and that helps because of like the diaphragm. But no, Barcelona. That's the next one. The version sang by Freddie Mercury. God, come on, let's
tune,
crack
by
on.
the way. That is a tune, by the way.
It is. Do you know what? You get really good acoustics in the toilet singing that one as well. Hey! And Heather said you don't take the tablet, Dan. You don't take an enema.
No, yeah, but an enema's a tube, isn't it?
Like an enema's lesson.
An enema's the tube up there and cleaned out.
Is that the enema? I thought the enema was the tablet. You're thinking of a colonic. A colonic is the tube. An enema is a tablet. A tablet you shove up your bum, and the colonic is a tube you stick up your bum, pump water up it to clean you all out.
Join us next week for our medical class on the Absolute Medical Football Podcast.
Let's move on.
We actually need to get a physio on here so he can clarify. He can clarify all these injuries that people get.
Oh, and incidentally, though, let's break this league down. We'll quickly run through this because this is getting out of hand. Leverkusen 84 points, loads of points ahead of Bayern Munich on 69, who are 2 points ahead of Stuttgart on 67, who are 5 points ahead of Leipzig on 63, who are 3 points ahead of Dortmund, who are 15 points ahead of Eintracht Frankfurt, who are 4 points ahead of Freiburg, who are 1 point ahead of Hoffenheim, who are 1 point ahead of Augsburg, who are 1 point ahead of Heidenheim, who are on the same points as Werder Bremen, who are 1 point ahead of Wolfsburg, who are 5 points ahead of Mönchengladbach on the same points as Bochum, who are 3 points ahead of Union Berlin, who are 1 point ahead of Mainz, who are 5 points ahead of Cologne, right, who are points ahead of Darmstadt. Oh my God. There you go. And, Sam said you get your bum insertion option right. Jesus, Dan, come on. If you're going to start, oh God, I was going to take it somewhere then about, if you're going to start messing about with that, you got to get it right, but I won't get that there.
Hey, but told you I was correct.
Yeah, enemas are choice.
Yeah,
enema's not a tube. I thought enema is the tablet. The colonic's the tube. Colonic.
A suppository is what you.
I tell you what. Do you want to give a proper talk about Scottish League, or should we just finish it?
I've got notes on the Scottish Premiership here.
Come on, you
go on, Bex. You've got this. It happens.
Wins for both Celtic and Rangers sees the gap at the top of the table remain at 3, and it's the Old Firm derby this weekend. So that if Rangers win, then they go to even points. If Celtic win, they've won the league unless they go on the worst run for the last 2 matches of the season. It's been a difficult start for Dundee. This is their second loss. I would like to say, Dundee, if you want to play Ryan Astley, please do, because my interest in the Scottish Premiership is based on him, and I would like to see him play.
He's never going to let you down.
No.
He's never going to let
He's never living that one down. Defeat for Livingston against Motherwell sees them relegated. Good win for Ross County, seeing them pull 2 points ahead of St Johnstone, who suffered a 1-0 defeat at Aberdeen. So you didn't think these could get more complicated, and then the Scottish Premiership happens with the split and their version of relegation.
It's weird, isn't it?
I don't mind it. Keeps it interesting. You got something to play for forever then.
Which one would you rather have if the Premier League were to introduce something like this, or the way the MLS do it?
I'd rather have something like this. Yeah, Belgium League do something very similar as well. I quite like that. I quite like it. I'll take it, but I'm desperate for the toilet. So let's. After all that talk, it's moved me. I feel moved. But in Eredivisie, PSV won. They won the league this weekend, and they won it in style with a 4-2 victory against Sparta Rotterdam. Go anywhere. Liverpool or Rome, but Rotterdam was anywhere. They beat them at home to win Eredivisie. And to be fair, 107 goals they've scored in 32 goals. They've just been phenomenal. I think the average score at one point in the league was 4-0 victory. So very well deserved the PSV. Well done. Any interest in games? I mean, we all want to know how Warwick did. And Warwick, well, wowee, as they beat Hercules 5-0. 5-0 by Warwick. And Achzet Achmar beat Twente 2-1. Feyenoord beat Swollen. Swollen colon. They beat for 5-0. Oh God, honestly, Fortuna shit hard. 2-0 with the go-ahead Eagles. It's all linked. And Ajax beat Volendam 4-1, but they're still in 5th position. They've had their dreadful start. They are struggling to sort of get themselves back up there. I'm not going to take the word struggling anyway, but well done to PSV. What a season. Played fabulously well. Well done on there. And we shall move on to League 1. And Sam said Ulrich Enema Ella is a professional footballer from Gabon who plays for Angers in France. I thought that was a nice little link there. And yeah, I can't pronounce the name. Don't know how to do it. But Brest are no longer best as they are 3rd now below Monaco. You might notice we cut out PSG because I don't like PSG because you've made the league boring. And Claire's foot. Claire, where are you? Your foot is still at the foot of the table, and it doesn't look very good for Clermont Foot at the bottom there. But Monaco, 61 points, Brest 57, and it's all very exciting at the top of League, as we call it. But thank you, everybody. That is at the end. I can't I can't keep going anymore because it's just my mind's going to terrible places. And,
you can't keep going. What anymore? Is that what we said?
Yeah, I just can't. Let's we're breaking Rebecca. Let's start. I mean, Spenny fan did say a result for he liked Excelsior 3. So 3-0 for Nijmegen against Excelsior tonight, which is one I didn't have on there. But thank you everybody for tolerating what has been a monstrous end to the show. It was fabulous. Dan and Rebecca held it up so strong for so long, and I just had to spoil it at the end. No pun intended. Dan, if people want more of you, where are you?
Championship soon. Simple as that. Relegated. Fodder. I'm on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, everywhere but OnlyFans.
And that is a shame, but hopefully, if you message him enough, it might happen. It'd be a beautiful thing to see.
Christina Aguilera sold genies in a bottle. What can I sell? Don't even go there, Josh. Don't even go there. That's a rhetorical question after today's talk. Rhetorical question.
Rebecca, bring up the standard. Please. Where can people find you?
You can find me on all social medias. So Instagram, Twitter, or X, whichever one you're calling it. TikTok, do a bit of everything from football to F1, 2 and 3. And then any of my Her Game 2 things. So whether that's with Accrington or me being the team lead for the ice hockey.
And then do check Rebecca out. I mean, if Formula One artistry is being recognised across the board as well, she's going to be world famous artiste. So please check that out. Make sure you support her. And of course, the big thing is, if you are watching us, please do follow, subscribe, all of that jazz. Thank you very much for catching us this evening. And all of our socials, you can catch us on Twitter because it will be forever Twitter at Absolute Ball Pod, YouTube on Twitch at Absolute Football Podcast, and the TikTok boom on Absolute Football Pod, Instagram and Thirds Absolute Football Podcast _ and Facebook, who won't let us stream there currently for some reason. We are the Absolute Football Podcast. And please, if you are listening on any audio platforms, thank you very much. Please give us 5 stars. Tell all your friends, your enemies, your neighbours, people you pass by randomly in the street. Let everybody know about the Absolute Football Podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please, it doesn't cost you anything, but do hit the subscribe button, because every time you subscribe, an angel gets its wings, which is a beautiful thing to see. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We love you all dearly. Join us on Wednesday. It's absolutely women's football, the WSL and the Women's Championship, which is coming to a very exciting close. Some excellent games over the weekend. You got to check it out. I listen to the chat consistently on Twitter, and all the team there know so much stuff. It's going to be a really, really good show, and it is a very competitive end to the WSL season. So please do check that Wednesday at 8:30, and on Thursday at 8:30, absolutely lower league, the Wowdy Wabble, the award-winning crazy cats that are over there. Please do check them out as well. Thank you very much. We love you all. I love you all. And I'm not going to say anything inappropriate. Let's go home. TTFN and ta-ta for now.